you said that you recognize that the internet is there and people have access to the internet, you know, so was there ever a thinking that this ban will be an effort in futility? Like it really doesn't matter?
No, because it's worse if people don't have a reference point. It's worse. I mean, all of us have been told things by our parents, and when we go upon road and we meet to hear them. But we know enough. We know set, and we always go back to the center. We know set this not right. Right? The other thing is that if it were an isolated measure, I would agree with you. But I don't know if you realize that the Broadcasting Commission has a global reputation as a thought leader for digital literacy. You remember the Pinchy Dead ad? It's Pinchy Dead.
With the viral.
No, where this woman has said, she hears a Pinchy Dead and she start pray, and then she says she hear it on the news, and the person says like fake news. Which news I hear it on? And it actually won a global award, and that's because we understand that the most important regulatory tool in the digital age is actually not directives, it's not regulations, it's digital literacy.
Which
right? So we are now collaborating with Mona School of Business, /Roots Foundation, and UNESCO to create a digital media information literacy skills framework for Jamaica. Because we are operating now in a digital space. And nobody prepared us for it. Celebrity used to have people sit down, then pay them and tell them how to engage with people. All of a sudden, Facebook come and all of our fans. We call them friends or followers. But what is it? You get up and 1,000 people are follow you. What do you do? We're not prepared for this. So it's pure confusion. You notice what people are doing with the technology. I heard a girl the other night on television responding to a horrible crash up at heading up to Mandeville. And what was her plea? What was her plea? Melrose Road or something.
Don't share the video.
Yes, she said, please, I'm begging you, do not put these images on WhatsApp. And people are not setting out to hurt other people. But the regulated people, you don't see that on TVJ and CVM for a reason. Because they operate in a regulated space where they have to take the public interest into consideration. All of we now turn broadcaster. Because we now get one phone and what TVJ and CVM used to do with camera. We have it too. With camera, and then we broadcast.
On set live.
We and live. But no regard for ethics, journalistic principles, sense of responsibility, the public interest. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Like you can't even tame this already monstrous beast, because as you say, you said that you don't think it's an effort in futility because you know that the internet is there where they put it on social media, on YouTube, where you guys really don't have any jurisdiction, you know. So it's just like how I mean, I'm sure you guys are aware that, and I mean, I figured, because I'm like, it's not a band-aid on the issue, you know.
No, but there's a global discussion that is taking place now. As I said, the operating systems have changed. And the conversation I told you about in Geneva, that was part of it. I was sitting on a panel with the chap who in Zurich is head of I think it's Microsoft. All of their technology that they're developing, like to compete with Oculus and preparing for the metaverse and so on. And the conversation that is taking place is really now about standards, because there is an acceptance. You drew illustration to fake news and what it does to democracy. There is a recognition now that we need new models. So UNESCO and Jamaica was very vocal in that. In fact, I represented the country in the state negotiations. Has now passed the UNESCO recommendation on the ethics of artificial intelligence, and there's work going on in the IEEE. So across the world, conversations are going on. What people don't want to do, however, is to create bad regulation. And in fact, probably we should even be talking about regulation as much as governance. Governance. How do we govern the new society, the digital society?
Yeah. Because I'm wondering if the BCJ is in talks with even YouTube. Because is the reach that far? Is the impact that far with BCJ to have conversations with them and say, can you put a limit on this? Can you restrict
not
this?
Not in that sense, but you know, we have experimented with something. So when other regulators were just not having a conversation, we were having a conversation, and YouTube recognized Broadcasting Commission as a trusted, I don't remember what it is called, you know, where if you tell them something, they put great weight on it. But for us, it was experimental, because we are trying to understand the age. So, for example, the Broadcasting Commission is now doing research in how to use machine learning and artificial intelligence in dealing with this flow of content that we have to be engaging with. So regulators now have to think out of the box. And I believe it's going to be a combination of approaches. No one approach. There has to be co-regulation. So regulators have to work with industry and civil society. Then the first line of defense has to be the ordinary people. And that first line of defense must start again with digital literacy. A lot of people don't know, for example, that experts have said you should not have a child engage with devices, much less go online if they are under 2 years old. And people, I mean, them happy, them show off actually. You know, they would love to say, look at my baby hasn't yet said mommy or daddy, but can, right?
I mean, in some sense, it is like a drug.
It is.
And to get kids hooked on this drug from such an early age,
brethren,
it can be damning.
It's not just the children. There is so much manipulation. When I talk about digital literacy, I'm talking about a simple thing as who tells our people that when you search, you are training algorithms. If me only a search for here where the fix us about spice, and where fix us about squash, and where them get shot. And if that is all that I am doing, the algorithm is going to feed me fix. Then I'm gonna do the flicks. They must send me that too. The slicks. They must send me
that. This was recommended to you because you watched the fix.
Them not tell me nothing about scholarship for go UWI, UTech, Harvard. Them not tell me nothing about news and current affairs. Them not tell me nothing about what President Biden doing. Them not tell me about Ukraine and put Ukraine in context. So our people need now to start to trick the algorithms. Sometimes you have to search for things like with upon this program. And me say, double entendre. With that, you don't just hear that and what is that? Double meaning. You go search for that. If you search for that now, push up your glasses now. It's not easy. So trick the algorithm because it's still content, you know. Going back to your question, it's not irrelevant to what Broadcasting Commission is about.
Because even during the COVID time, we see a lot of misinformation as well as disinformation. And I was wondering even but it never happened on verified platforms or, traditional media. It happened on social media where people were able to spew anything and just share anything. But I guess Instagram would come in and put them disclaimer at the bottom of it and say, vaccines work, this the CDC did this, da. But like how BCJ, how are you or were you able to regulate that, like regulate speech in that way? So again,
so we were running some ads about fake news, but again, digital literacy at its simplest is about saying that to people too. That hold on, if you hear say so and so happen, then me nah say RGR infallibly, and then can't make mistake. And nationwide and Gleaner. But and CVM and TVJ and the radio station them, but we know we need to be saying to people, these people who operate these newsrooms, sometimes as a matter of fact, you don't hear some things from them right away. You know why? Because them have to verify. Them have to verify. So no bother, I say them slow and them irrelevant.
But that's a challenge because they have to worry about certain ethics and standards in journalism.
If you got people, if you
keep up the pace,
if you turn on the bulb now in people's head, that this is not just about speed, it's also about accuracy. So you're not going to judge the relevance of a platform by the fact that them never tell you first. But the people don't understand, if you don't educate the people and say to them, those platforms need to verify. They need to check not one source but two sources. If they put out information that is misleading, they are accountable to a regulator. The other people them say what them want to say. Influencer say them want to say. Vlogger and blogger say what them want to say. And when them wrong, them don't even come back and apologize. Them just move on to the next thing.
I want to answer this. What does the end result of a relationship between BCG and YouTube looks like? Would it be like something like banning songs within Jamaica region or something like that? Or looking
I don't know, you want to say ban, like restrict.
It depends on how the internet emerges. I don't want it to emerge the way it is shaping up, which is that it's going to become very sort of that we're going to have geographic designs, but that's one possibility with China and Europe and that kind of thing. That won't be good for us. So
wait, when you said China, because I know China said like they don't even want, like they have a mission to make men be men, so them restrict certain things, and the internet, the government have like strong presence. And I guess
there's really nothing wrong with strong presence, but repressive regimes are never good. Never good. They never work well for people. So you want the internet to serve its original purpose, which is really to support liberty and all the fundamental rights, including freedom of expression. What you hope will happen with entities like YouTube and so on, which, by the way, are maturing now and by 2045 may really be relevant. If you think about movement from MTV and BET to them, what you hope is that, first of all, the next phase, because we have to also look past them. The next phase, we have to address these things from the design phase. What we have done is we have allowed some people to go in their garage, come up with some things that start to impact society in serious ways, and then we react. You need from the design stage for people to do risk assessment of the technologies they are developing, to have diverse staff, to be guided by ethical principles. So you don't decide and start respond to the impact of your technology when exactly. So that's answering your question post YouTube. In terms of YouTube now, it is about being convinced that whatever mechanism they set up for oversight, that it is acceptable and it is reasonable. And that is currently with a question mark, because it was really a reaction. Like Facebook, hurry up and set up something. And we're not really comfortable either with the notion that some European people and some American people, some North Atlantic people go and decide where to take off from Jamaica. And no, we don't really believe so. So our argument is whatever you're doing needs to be diverse, and you need to have relationships with country regulators. So it mightn't take a form where you say, I am your regulator in a kind of top-down way. It may be co-regulation. So I really don't know how it's going to pan out, but what I can tell you is that there is increasing unease with the idea that individuals, like this brother who just take over Twitter and fire the management, right? Elon.
He's not just our brother.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm framing it that way, seriously, because you have Elon take over Twitter, fire the management, and we are talking about one man who's going to decide how a major platform with significant influences, not in the United States, globally, how that one man is going to determine
free speech. Yes, that's what it's all about.
And that's the debate.
And then nigga go up by 500. The use of the word nigga go
or
by
whatever.
500%.
Is that's the debate? Is it acceptable for a handful of big tech billionaires to determine the reality, how the world is to be shaped, and the rules that should govern it? And Jamaica says no. And you would expect us not to support something like that, because we are a world superpower culturally. So we have a lot to say about these things. We want an inclusive approach to global digital governance with digital literacy as a critical tool. It has to be supported the way we are now supporting green action, the environment. It is as important.
You have to be careful when I say that for real, so you have to follow that up.
But
no, it's a green action.
But I heard Cardell Green. I heard the one. Okay?
Y'all when we hurting, working in the graveyard. Them working hard, in the graveyard, working so hard in the graveyard. Say them hunted, be a tall gun them a walk with. Anything name love shouting. Me tell them to clean up them hands still, cause life out there for we all live. Politics we all with a morning. Them not care for the youths, them we starving. But put the family first, and it no matter about your last name. Me know we can't be the world, so what the family first, yeah. Me put the family first. Love how the team I win the ball game. Enough trap them have said for you. Pray for some little things you never get for do. Can't do nothing you never make for do. Yo, ghost man, they will cry tears. Yeah. Who would have thought that the perfect dream is a nightmare?